In 1991, through the efforts of a confidential intermediary assigned by the court through which I was adopted, and after 46 years of life without knowing, I'd found 3 half-sisters on my biological mother's side of my lineage. Unfortunately, my biological mother had died several years before. After all those years, I was astounded when I got this long-awaited information. In fact, I was somewhat stunned to finally get it. I'd temporarily forgotten that I also had a biological father. It took another few weeks for me to call the confidential intermediary to ask about progress in locating my biological father. She had no information. And for another 1.5 years, she was unable to provide information about my biological father. Then came her surprise. I'm leaving my position. I've not been happy in the role of confidential intermediary here. My boss at the court has been an obstructionist. I've had information about your biological father for over 1 year, but was not allowed to share this with you. And your case was not the only one in which I was kept mute. I want to help you if you can be discreet. Of course I can, I said. What else could I say? His name was Neal Leon Cassady, and he died a few years ago. My biological father's name might just as well have been John Doe. Like many young men of my generation, I'd read On the Road by Jack Kerouac, but never, having read the author's biography, had no idea the fascinating character Dean Moriarty was based on someone from Denver by the name of Neal Cassady. Now, but still not knowing the significance of it, I'd obtained my father's name. I had something concrete. I'd start by going to the Bureau of Vital Statistics again, for the 3rd time, to see if I could be provided a death certificate. With the death certificate, I could access Social Security information, and the puzzle could start coming together. Then I'd start research at libraries for other important information. Things were looking up, I thought. No one named Neal Leon Cassady has died here in Colorado, she said. Well, how can I find out if he died in another state? This was before the internet. You can write to each state, pay their fees, and await a reply. Mailing inquiries to the other 49 states. No way. Another dead end, I thought. I didn't think much about my father in subsequent years, but in 2010, that all changed. My friend and amateur genealogist, Paul Corbett, discovered through investigation on the internet Neal Leon Cassady's importance to the American Beat movement and to me, his illegitimate son. For the first time, I really had something to go on. I started putting it all together. I engaged an attorney, collected all the required documentation, and submitted a request to the court to open my adoption records for a good cause. The court order was granted. In 3 months, I had my hands on my original birth certificate, adoption decree, and other information from my file that had probably not been seen since 1945. I was 66 years old. At this time, I met 2 people involved in the production of a documentary called Neal Cassady, The Denver Years, a really must-see documentary and a labor of love for these wonderful people, Heather Dalton and Joshua Hassel. They reviewed my adoption information and offered to contact the adult Cassady children about me. It was a terrific offer. Heather and Joshua were not only very kind, but facilitated the connection with my two half-sisters and half-brother. The three children of Neal Cassady and Carolyn Cassady, with whom I share half of my DNA, were unexpectedly warm and welcoming from the beginning. I've been in contact with my newly identified siblings and have visited them in their home state. In this, the last portion of my life, I have 3 half-sisters on my maternal side and 2 half-sisters and a half-brother on my paternal side that I had never have known and loved if I'd given up my search. Sometime after 2010, Colorado adoptions laws changed. I don't have the exact date. Current adoption laws make the reunification of adopted children and biological parents much easier. Under current laws, I could have potentially had a beer with my father, Neal. I was 22 when he died. Thanks for listening. Have a good rest of the night.